And we are back live at Race World Offshore's Facebook page. Also here locally in the Bay Area as we're broadcasting live on WHBO. And we got more racing for you. Todd Swafford along with John J.W. Powell. Billy Shipley from Team Woody joins us as we're getting set for our third race of the day. Third race, Super Cat and the 450R boats will be out here to race in two different race starts. The Super Cats, just like the Class 1 boats, doing 13 laps, 57 miles, and the 450R boats doing 11 laps, 48 miles. Then at 3 o'clock, our final race of the day, the biggest fleet of boats in one class, Super Stock, 10 boats racing here today. Now, as we get back on the air, we do know that we did have some connectivity issues here from the live stream. We apologize for that inconvenience. The teams are working on that right now. One thing is for certain, the entire show has been recorded in its entirety and will be rebroadcast, and we'll announce that on the Race World Offshore Facebook page later on tonight when that will be available. But we have everything that happened here, and unfortunately we definitely are having some internet problems out here as we're looking over beautiful Clearwater Beach, 13th annual Baystar Clearwater Nationals. Presenting sponsors, VSPC, Visit St. Pete Clearwater, and also Baystar Restaurant Group. Of course, later on tonight, 6 o'clock at the Marina Cantina, there'll be the awards ceremony for the Clearwater Nationals. So we're waiting for the boats to come out of the sound from the wet pits, come under the bridge, and come out here in front of this great area to watch the race, the beautiful beaches of Clearwater Beach. A big spectator fleet already is set up to watch a couple more premier classes go. But earlier today, in our first stop, the guys that put on a big show for us were all of the bracket boats and the Mod Vs and the Stock Vs. And Billy Shipley of one of the bracket winning boats, Team Woody, joins us, gives us a little indication of how much rougher it was out there than we really thought it was.
Yeah, that was fun. The water's really smooth today. It's a great day, fast racing, everyone's full speed. But with 28 boats, 28 boats on the course, that was interesting. Those boats were anywhere from 60 miles an hour to 95 miles an hour. We were in the 95 class, and so, after 2 or 3 laps, we started taking on traffic from the 60 mile an hour Class 7s and then the 6s and 5s, and the whole course was rough. It was it's a smooth water today, but the boat wake was it was a washing machine most of the way. It was pretty rowdy out there for a minute.
Yeah, we saw a couple boats. I mean, we didn't see the whole course, but Britt Lilly, LSB, had one where he launched and came down pretty hard, but he was able to hold it together and keep it, and that was here on the southbound leg. Mm-hmm. But it was even at some points, I mean, some of the wake action coming back across into the beach, coming into that shallower water was really tough.
Yeah, that's right. So the wake feeds from both sides of the course also because it's so narrow.
Uh-huh.
I mean, that turn's only 100 yards wide, and so you're catching wave coming back from the beach. You're catching waves coming from the other side of the course. You're catching waves that you're immediately running in. And so some of that stuff's unpredictable. You just don't see it coming, and you're just going like Britt, he probably hit something. He didn't even know it was there. He was maybe watching another boat, or they were looking at gauges or something like that, and just sometimes it'll hit you out of nowhere. Those are the fun ones, though. As long as you can land it right and you're all safe, it makes it a fun ride.
You had a close call with the shocker boat too, didn't you?
Yeah, he almost hooked in front of us coming down the fronts down the beach right here, and we were watching him. I was just trying to stay just right outside of his wake and run beside him because he couldn't see me, and so I saw him bounce pretty good, and we kind of moved over to the left, and then he kind of hooked it some. So yeah. Just got to be paying attention, watching boats mainly, and that's why that water will sneak up on you.
All right, we're seeing the Super Cats and 450R factory boats come out, chasing the pace boats. We're going to have 2 starts here. The Super Cat boats will mill and line up and race, and then the factory 450R boats will line up and race. So we'll have 2 starts. The big boats, they're going 13 laps, 57 miles, and the 450R boats, I believe it's 11 laps and 48 miles. Here's the lineup for today's 15th annual Clearwater Nationals Race World Offshore APBA Super Cat Series race. This is for national points, and it's tight in this one. Number 6, Imcon, a 388 skater with twin 750 horsepower Sterling engines. Myrick Coyle and Tyler Miller in the cockpit. Number 5, WHM Motorsports, a 40-foot skater with Sterling Super Cat power. Billy Moff, the driver. Throttleman Jay Muller. Number 4, Liquor Split, a 388 skater with twin Mercury 552 cubic inch engines, turbocharged. John Paul Emmons, the driver. John Paul Emmons is in the cockpit with Jimmy McIntyre. The number 54 Graydel 388 skater with twin 750 horsepower HRE engines. Chris Grant, the owner driver. Billy Moore, the throttle man. NZ11 Pro Floors. Wayne Valder in a 42 MTI. Twin Cassie Supercat engines, Grant Bruggerman is your throttle man. And number 88, SV Offshore, a 39 Outer Limits with the twin Mercury 552 cubic inch turbocharged engines. Pardon me, not turbocharged, naturally aspirated engines. Was thinking about the Class 1 engines, my apologies. They are have that nice 4-valve overhead cam, very quick off the line. And Vinny's got a pair of those, and he's the one of 2 boats racing those Mercury engines in Super Cat class. So once again, SV Offshore with the Mercury power. The Super Cat boats are carbureted with the old style Holley carburetor on board, naturally aspirated. Now the lineup for the 3 boats running in factory 450R, factory stock. All 39 MTIs. Taylor Sism and TS Motorsports all have the twin Mercury 450R engines. Taylor teams up with the legendary throttle man Johnny Tomlinson. Number 22, KLOVAR, 39 MTI, again 450Rs. Randy Keys and Billy Miller are in the cockpit. And number 32, CG Racing, 39 MTI with twin 450Rs. Willie Cabeza and Gary Ballou on throttles. Billy Allen.
That's right.
Yes, of course. That's the 3rd time I have. I don't know why I want to call him Miller.
Yep, Billy Allen with Team Allen Landscape and Lawn Care.
Yeah, Billy Allen. He's gonna poke me in the eye when he sees me.
he throttles for Randy.
Yep, no doubt. And congratulations to the teams that won earlier today. In Class 1 was 222 Offshore out of Australia. Australian Navy winning in the Class 1. In 2nd place was Husky Chocolate. In 3rd place was the JBS team. Good day for them, no doubt. And in today's earlier races, it was Sunprint, the Hooters team. Steve Miklos edging out BoatFloater.com and Sheriff Lobo in the Mod V classes. And in the Stock V classes, LSB RevX Oil finishing in 1st. North Myrtle Beach RV Resort in 2nd. Twisted Tea in 3rd. Your 2 boats did real well, Class 300 and 500. Team Woody taking 1st place in both those classes.
Yeah, we're tentatively in 1st place, pending GPS readings, obviously. And we've been there all year with that Class 5 boat. That thing's running great. Craig Buffado and the good cars, they've been having some trouble with their engines. They have a brand new engine. This is their 2nd race with it in there. So they're getting it back together. But some good racing. Good racing out there.
Yeah,
good.
Class 4, Control Freak took 1st. And in Class 6, it was the Powerhouse Racing, the Nelson Sawyer out of Key West. In Class 7, Offshore Omies. But the Golf and Gator team, you guys were strong, huh?
Yeah,
they were running really good.
That boat is set up. I don't know what's going on. It's it just doesn't seem to mess up. And JJ and Michael Stancombe, they're just amazing team in there. Stancombe was in that boat in the 1st race, and then he was in the JBS racing in the 2nd race. So they traded out positions over here in the channel coming out. So this race here is going to be pretty awesome. You got the best of the best right now. WHM, MCon, Graydel, Liquor Split Pro 4s. It's awesome. That Graydel boat, I got to start the race at Michigan City, so I started the flag for the 450 factory stock guys, and they raced at the same time as Supercat. So I was out there during that race in a 35 cigarette in the water. It was probably 6-foot rollers at that time, and man, Billy Moore, the way they ran that Graydel boat, that's the most amazing thing I think I've ever seen. I had to go to him after the race and say, listen, I've never seen someone run a boat in water like that like you did. He almost lapped every single person, including the guys in second and third.
All right, Cigarette Hawk is the official pace boat, has the Supercats up. We got 6 boats in this class. As Billy mentioned, 3 boats, and they all have independent Supercat power, are really in a tight point race within 10 points of first. Imcon.
He's already green flagged them.
Yeah, he's green flagged them. They're up and running. Ale Vite, let's go racing. And then Pro Floors in second, just 6 points back. And then right behind him, 1 point, is Graydel. And right now you can already see that Imcon has the inside line. They obviously got to start on the inside line because they spun out in St. Pete. So they finished last. The WHM has given them a challenge here. So you got 2 skaters running side by side, a 388 and a 40. That's Tyler Miller and My Recoil, and then charging hard on the outside as they pass Pier 60 and moving into second and maybe around. Let's see how the turn goes. Pro Floors. Wayne Valder and Grant Bruggeman. We're underway. Supercat racing here from the 13th annual Baystar Clearwater Offshore Nationals as they settle out. Looks like Amcon holds the turn and the lead. WHM second, and Pro Floors settles in third. Graydel drops right back in there at fourth. 4 boats really tight here. Couple of boats having trouble getting up on plane. Those are both the Mercury-powered boats, Liquor Split and SV Offshore. But Imcon continues to lead. Well, you know that they really hated not being able to get into a race all day against Pro Floors in St. Pete. Of course, they spun out at the end of, into the first turn. Here comes our start in factory 450R. These boats are all identical, 39 MTIs with twin 450R engines. So they will be super competitive. Looks like SV Offshore did get up and is now running. Got that boat up on plane, and they're just out in front of the 450R boats as they come out of the south turn. Are you going to want to? Yeah, there you go. This is going to be an exciting class as they get it developing. And we go back to the north end. Imcon continues to hold a lead over WHM. Diving to the outside was Pro Floors, still in the Rooster Tail. Now coming out, he has to go wide. WHM holding an inside line as they head south here in front of the spectators. But WHM trying to chase down Imcon. This is the best early showing of the year for Billy Moff and Jay Muller.
Brand new engines. They just changed them the other day, and they practiced yesterday and said they've seen speeds out of that boat that they haven't seen in a long time. And they were chasing down some electrical gremlins, and I think they finally fixed them.
Top 2 boats have Sterling Supercat motors. There's Imcon, your overall leader after lap number 1. 13 laps, we got 1 down. They've stretched their lead as they pass the start-finish line past Pier 60. Now, this is kind of a tough turn. You can't go wide here. You got to watch the pier, and then you're right on the turn, Billy.
Yeah, there's 2 little buoys sitting out there in front of that pier, and so you're trying to watch everything, and those buoys are white, and it kind of squeezes down on you a little bit. And so you have to get in on the turn pretty good, and man, they're doing great. Those are tight turns, big boats.
So Pro Floors behind WHM running in 3rd place. As we go on the north end, now we're looking at the leaders in 450R. We have to really wait for them to get right up on top of us. There's a little bit of a glare coming our way.
Looks like one's missing, and maybe that one's hurt. They're not on speed anymore.
They're definitely limping.
Yeah, they're on 1 motor.
Good news, SV Offshore has got up, and now they're running.
And they're looking good too. That thing's
they are
fast.
looking good now. They had trouble getting up. Something must have bogged down on them.
He could have had a Guardian issue. Those 860s will go into Guardian, and the other boats won't go into Guardian because they're not electronic.
So that looks like, that's TS Motorsports, Taylor System, Johnny Tomlinson. Got a pretty good lead over the KLOVAR team, running in second. Randy Keys and Billy Allen. Did it earlier too, and you have to apologize. You get a name wrong. Shame on me.
Happy birthday, Billy Allen.
Yeah, that's right. Apologies to Jeff Stevenson, called him Jeff Reynolds. Here's the Cabeza team.
As long as you got Billy Shipley right, I'm happy with that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Boy, WHM's catching back up to him.
They are.
Hey guys, the SV Offshore team was able to get it back up and running, but Liquor Split could not. They just continued into the pits.
All right, here we are, our leaders in Super Cat. Again, couple of skaters with Sterling Power in the lead, but chasing them, 42 MTI Pro Floors with Kase Super Cat engines. But Imcon continuing to lead.
I don't think Vinny and Simon saw the start flag on that thing. He threw that flag before those boats were lined up.
There's Imcon.
He might have just missed it in the rooster tail, because if they're not lined up, those rooster tails are so big you can't see past them. That thing is dialed in, buddy.
No doubt.
But this thing could change too. There's 13 laps in this race, and these guys are going to lose some weight in their fuel. Depends on how they come into their setup. Do they set it up for early race or late race? So, we might see some changes in this thing. It could always go a different way.
Well, he has a 6-second lead over WHM. Another 6 seconds back from WHM is Pro Floors. There's Graydel.
I talked to Billy about that Graydel boat, and he wasn't expecting to be fast in this water. They can't figure out their flat water setup, and he said there's not any props available to try to change it. So he was hoping for a rough race, and they're good in the rough. They got a perfect setup for that, but he wasn't expecting in flat water to be real competitive today, to be honest with you.
All right, there's SV Offshore. They've got the 552 cubic inch Mercury racing engines. They have a transmission. The Super Cat motors have a crash box.
Man,
you could explain that to what a crash box is to the lay fan out there.
Well, honestly, we don't have them. So
you don't.
It's just to save the drives and the props when they go into gear and stuff like that.
Right,
so
they only go into forward, reverse.
Yeah, and so you put it into gear, you start it in gear, then you turn it off and you shift to gear and turn it in. That way it doesn't impact the system so hard whenever they're shifting, because their props are big and their boats weigh a lot. And so that crash box helps save all their drive running gear inside there and doesn't
rugged dependability.
That's
There's
right.
TS Motorsports continuing to lead in the factory 450R.
We just have the drives and the engines in ours with the shaft in the middle, and so we shift those 1,000 RPMs or less, and then our boats don't weigh that much.
Great shot of those cats getting up on the water. You can see right underneath as they get the air. WHM Motorsports running in second. Imcon just off the screen continues to have the lead. And there's Pro Floors. Both Pro Floors and Imcon really up high on the points race for the APBA National Series. Then Graydel back and forth.
The way that Pro Floors guy came down on that first turn there, I thought he was fixing to run off and leave them. Coming in pretty hot, but they started pulling out in the turns, and it's just all set up. Depends on what props they're all running. They're either fast on the top or they're fast coming out of the turn to get back up to speed, and so looks like Imcon's got the perfect. They got both. Maybe they got a prop for each.
Tyler Miller has that lead up to 12 seconds over WHM, an increase of 6.
Look at that turn right there in WHM. They took it right on the pin.
They did. And Pro Floors has probably fallen another 3 seconds off the pace. Here's Graydel. This is the way they've run for the first 2 laps, 1, 2, 3, and 4.
I believe that Graydel boat is the old Imcon boat, isn't it?
That's correct. It was the one that they won last year.
Which was AMH, and before that it was Steel.
That's right.
It's a fast boat.
Yep. So we're 3 laps into this 13-lap race. Pro Floors, great shot. What a great job Grant Bruggeman has done with that. It's one of the oldest boats you'll find in any one of the major classes. It used to be the Reliable Carriers, won a world championship late 2000s, and Spirit of Qatar with Sheikh Hassan and Steve Curtis. Spirit of Qatar raced it, and then eventually it ended up in,
I believe it's the only MTI in that class right now. It's the only MTI boat in that class.
It is the only MTI in
skaters
that
and then that Outer Limits out there.
And I'll tell you what, man, he's had a couple of races where he was almost uncatchable.
Oh yeah, he can run off and leave him in that thing for sure.
Yep.
Again, it's about this setup. I don't think they expected this water to be that flat today. It was a little bit earlier. Even there was a roller coming in. I don't see anything from where I'm sitting right now.
Yeah, it's actually laid down. We thought that maybe it might bump up a little bit with the tide going out, but it has not done that at all. There's your leaders. MCon in Supercat, WHM in second, Pro Floors in third. Two skaters up front, and then MTI in third.
I bet this water's a little bigger next weekend with that storm coming in.
Whew.
It's not even rippling on the beach. I mean, there's nothing. There's no wind.
That's typical what kind of happens in front of a storm. You get the calm before the storm. And my goodness, our hopes and prayers go out to anybody and everybody out there. Obviously, all of us here, potentially in the area that the storm might impact, all the way up the coast of Florida into the Big Bend and into the Panhandle. There's MCon as he goes around the CS Racing team. They've actually, WHM has closed it down by 3 seconds. And Pro Floors about 10 seconds off WHM's pace. 4 laps in.
Looks like they got that 450 stock boat going again. At the start, it's like he was losing a motor, and maybe he was in Guardian.
He may have been.
It's running now.
The Mercury engines, as we watch Graydel come by, again, rough water boat. He's prospered in the rough water of Cocoa Beach and Michigan City, were really roughed up.
Yeah, it was rough there.
And
that was the strangest thing I ever seen too. That water was super flat in the first race. Then it was 6-footers in the second and third in the last race. And then as soon as we got done racing, it looked out across there, Lake Michigan, and it was completely flat again. The wind changed back out. I couldn't believe it.
Vinny Diorio and Simon Prevost. Simon comes across the border, or one of our international teams, and in a 39 Outer Limits, again with the twin.
He lives in
Mercury.
Quebec.
Pardon?
He lives in Quebec, Canada.
Quebec, Canada. Yep. We appreciate all of our international friends coming to race. Again, they have those 552 cubic inch Mercury engines, 4-barrel overhead cam. And the other boats that are in front of them are all those Supercat motors, either Cases or Sterlings. So there's Graydel has the HRE. Most importantly, as you were mentioning, prop selection. Setting these boats up is so critical, and it'll be the same in the next race in Superstock.
Right. These guys weigh the same. Their engines are the same, basically. The RPMs, cams. I mean, there's all kinds of compressions, all the same. They're pretty evenly matched. It's just the setup and then the skill.
TS Motorsports, Taylor Sissom, Johnny Tomlinson continue to lead in the Factory 450R class. And again, our leaders coming around. MCon, your overall leader in Supercat, is just in a slim points lead in the APBA National Series, 6 points ahead of Pro Floors with 2 races to go to determine the APBA National Championship. If you take a look at the overall points, the APBA Series through the races that weren't on the Supercat owners list for a series, actually Pro Floors has more points.
At MCon, they took that boat apart, engines out, drives off. They had a bunch of damage from that spin out in St. Petersburg, and it was pretty violent. It looked like it just spun around, but it hurt some stuff back there pretty bad. And 2 weeks ago, and now here they are running the race in that thing.
Blew the skegs off the 6 drives, and obviously, you know, if you swamp that boat, you get all kinds of problems with that ocean water, and so much cooler than the 230 degrees you got cooking in there. It rips some stuff up.
That team's relentless. It's like every time you go by their pits, somebody's at that boat doing something. All day, all night, they're always there doing something.
There goes Graydel. They're running in 4th now, 5 laps into this race. The 13th annual Baystar Clearwater Offshore Nationals, presented by VSPC. Visit St. Pete Clearwater, and by Baystar Restaurant Group, SV Offshore.
That boat looks better every time they get in the water. It just looks fast today.
It does.
It's running flat. It looks good. Vinny and Simon have been doing lots of practicing, and
these guys face a weight penalty because they have higher cubic inches.
Right.
We're starting to find that these engines between the independent manufacturers and Mercury are a little closer than we think. We call these the SuperCat 750 engines, but they're generally turning somewhere in the 750 to 800 range.
Right.
And from talking to Richie Dancizin, the chief referee, in talking with Mercury, they're finding out that the engines that these two teams are racing very close here. MCon and WHM, they're actually a little bit less than 860, maybe a little closer than they thought before. So they're trying to get all that sorted out. All right, he did cut the gap, huh?
He's closing it up.
Yeah, he's seconds behind.
Mm-hmm.
He was 12 2 laps ago, then down to 6.
That'll happen when they start coming into the setup in this thing.
Yep, you can fall in or fall away from your setup as the fuel burns off based on what props you pick and the conditions. If they thought it was going to be rough, they may have gone for the different prop selection, and a pitch of props can determine who wins and loses a race, Billy.
Yeah, that is the decision. It's a last-minute deal, too. They got people down here looking at the water, calling back on the phone, telling what it looks like, and at the last second, they'll throw the props on there and put it in the water.
4-second lead for MCon as they head into the south turn. 6 laps in. WHM continuing to trail. Chasing.
MCon's building the Class 1 boat for next year, 46 skater right now.
Yeah, 438 skater.
438, I'm sorry.
They are.
Myrick and Tyler will be racing SuperCat and Class 1.
As we look at TS Motorsports heading on the northbound leg. Yeah, they're very excited about it. Apparently, Peter Layden at Skater, extremely excited to have a Class 1 boat built. Put those Mercury comp engines for Class 1, the 1100s in there. They're turbocharged.
Jeff Stevens is building one too.
Yep.
He's bringing
a
new boat.
That's right.
For Class 1. I think his is the 46 actually.
And Graydel passing the turn by Pier 60, continuing to run in 4th. J-Dub, how are we doing in 450? We still got TS Motorsports in first.
Yep.
KLOVAR in second, and CG Racing in third. They've done 5 laps. There's SV Offshore. You know, when that boat runs good, it runs great. It looks beautiful out there.
It's been a great week this week, man. This weather, it was a little warm the other day, but this is no rain. It's been a good week here, man.
Yeah, it's been definitely. You know, the one thing with those Mercury engines, though, is we watch the 2 Sterling boats come around the turn and battling. Like you said, that Guardian mode, there's protections in the ECU there. You get a high water pressure, oil pressure, and it will put that boat into reduction mode and shut those engines down.
Yeah, there's
to
lots
have power.
of sensors.
Sometimes you got to restart them to even get them to come back up, and boy, you're done at that point. That certainly the bad start hurt SV Offshore. All right, man, we got a race here at the front of SuperCat. MCon, a 388 skater, a 40-foot skater with WHM in second.
He's not pulling away from him like he did the last 2 laps. There he's starting to now, but WHM just stays with him longer and longer and longer on the lap. These last few laps are going to be interesting.
They're going to come around the TS Motorsports boat at the state of the outside here. And then WHM will clock him at still about 4.5 seconds off the lead.
There's some advantages to turning real tight like he's turning like that, but there's also some disadvantages as in scrubbing speed. You know, a 10,000-pound boat like that can take a lot of speed off of him.
Yep, WHM in second. Now we watch Pro Floors going to the turn. Now we go back to the other side and watch one of the factory 450R boats get run down by MCon. So they head down to North turn, about a 2-mile straightaway, just about. Pretty close. Live coverage on the Race World Offshore Facebook page, our live stream here from the 13th annual Baystar Clearwater Offshore Nationals. Also live here in the Bay Area on News Talk 1040 WHBO 94.5 FM, newstalkflorida.com. IMCON continue to hold the lead. We are on the back half of this course.
He's catching up to him. He wasn't that far back on that one.
Seems like he might be making his distance on that outside leg.
Yeah, each straightaway he's getting closer and closer.
But last time IMCON was able to pull back away a little bit. He definitely he held some speed on going outside like that though.
Yeah, Billy was excited the boat ran so well yesterday, and it's good to have him back. Billy Moff, he's a big, he's a staple in this thing, a legend. And he was super, super excited his boat is running well again. He's had some problems in the last few races. They couldn't find him, and they finally figured it out.
He's always going to be in the, when it comes time for the World Championships, he don't play. And he's got that bigger skater to handle that Key West water.
That's right.
They've definitely been able to, they were tighter in the turn, but now IMCON's been able to distance himself.
IMCON is a machine, man. That thing is beautiful.
Still, well, now about 5 seconds, maybe a half or 3/4 second difference. And then Pro Floors they may not have picked the right props here today. Definitely want to stay on the podium if you're Pro Floors. There's Graydel running in 4th.
It was still real cloudy this morning at the crane when they put those boats in, so everyone was expecting a little weather to push in, and then south of here it looked like some rain, but it's all gone now and clear. Like I said, there's zero wind out there, so yeah, they could have picked a setup that was just not tall enough for
Pro
this.
Floors is about 16 seconds behind WHM. Look back around to the north, coming right back down in front of the beach here at Clearwater, Florida. Saw IMCON just leave the screen. Factory 450R, I believe that's CS Racing, or it's TS Racing.
It's CS.
Is it CS?
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
that's Willie Cabeza. So this is one of the boats at MTI.
TS is here on the
Yeah, there's
on the
TS heading into the turn there with Pro Floors going to pass him on the outside. Taylor Sissom, dad Randy owns MTI. She's helping to put together this class. They actually offer concierge service for owners, and they'll get your boat together and get it to the race site for you. All you got to do is show up. They'll
Just
bring the
get
race
in it,
crew,
race it, and get out and go home.
Exactly. Gotta love that.
Yeah.
And those boats, I mean, just no tweaking needed to be done much at all.
Not
Props
much.
on them, but those big 450Rs are monsters. There's your leaders. Super Cat class, both with Sterling power. Both skaters. Smaller IMCON just left the screen in first. IMCON and the 40-foot skater WHM Motorsports in second. Good wide shot, the two boats.
Really looks like Billy and Jay have their boat trimmed out on the straightaways a little bit more than IMCON. Seems to be running a little bit flatter.
So this is the 9th lap of 13, so just 4 laps left here. So you pass the start-finish line. IMCON continuing to lead. WHM in second. Falling off a couple of seconds. Still holding on to a steady second, and there's Pro Floors. A little off the pace today. They've got to be disappointed. Second or third's not where they want to be, but on the podium's where they need to be. If things continue like this for the National Point Series, IMCON's in control right now. TS Motorsports leading in Factory 450R. with 8 laps of 11.
Our Class 5 boat came into this race tied with the Bulletproof Good Cars boat with Craig Buffado. Dead heat, even to the half a point. It was a tied deal today. So it felt good to win that one to get us a few points ahead. You know,
It don't get any tighter, huh?
So next week it could change. You know, we could still not be the national champions. And so
There's Graydel.
got to stay on your game all the way to the end.
And for fans of the sport, the APB has a national series. The Super Cat owners, as we look at SV Offshore, got to be pleased with the way that boat is running after the trouble getting it up going at the start. But boy, if they would have had a good start, it looks like they would be right on the pace.
Oh yeah.
Running in 5th place here today. 5 boats all within.
Boy, Billy went wide there. Trying to keep his speed up.
Lead. Boy, Billy taking it wide again. Looking for the clean water. He's got it. Imkan takes the tight line around the turn. It's his course to determine which way he wants to go. And Pro Floors there back in 3rd.
It's always a good feeling being in the front because you're looking at blue water the whole way and you can choose what you want to do.
Willie Cabeza and Gary Blue. We'll see Gary and both he and Billy Allen, who's in the KLOVAR boat, in the Superstock race.
Hey, Gary's in the Big East boat, correct?
Gary's in the Big East boat, right. And Billy Allen, Team Allen Lawn Care. There's Imkan. 3 laps to go. Continuing to hold on to first place. Looks like he has spread that lead. Now into double digits in front of Billy Moff and Jay Muller. WHM Motorsports, a 12.5-second lead. So the Super Cat owners have a 6-race APBA National Series. Pro Floors is running in 2nd overall in that series, 3rd overall here today. And they have they can drop 1 race out of those 7 races, considering that probably all 3 teams at the top of the heap have already had their worst finishes. It's a really tight race within 10 points of Imkan, Pro Floors, and Graydel. So a first place today is big for Imkan, as they held a 6-point lead over Pro Floors. There's TS Motorsports, Taylor Sism. She told Eric Colby of Speed on the Water was TS could be Taylor Sism or it could be Tomlinson Sism. So she hasn't made her mind up yet.
She'll decide when they win.
Yeah, there's Graydel. You got to feel great for Billy Moore. His dad, one of the icons, legendary people in offshore racing. KLOVAR had a good year. Randy Keys and Billy Allen in that boat.
They almost rolled that boat in St. Pete 2 weeks
did,
ago.
They
man.
charged and tried to get.
I was watching
tried
TV.
to get to Taylor at the end.
I was at home in a restaurant watching that thing, and I started screaming out loud. The whole room looked at me like I was crazy. I was like, "Sorry, I'm watching racing over here."
Well, so today's race and then the last race in Fort Myers will determine who the champion is. And right now, a first place finish for Imkan puts them in the driver's seat. And they would need, Pro Floors would need a win in Fort Myers and potentially a 4th place finish by Imkan. We'd have to do the points, and we'll try and get that for you before we go off the air today. It'll definitely make it a little more difficult. There's Imkan, 2 laps to go. Well, for all the trouble they had spinning that boat out in St. Pete, what a race that might have been that day.
Man,
they were right on the stern of Pro Floors.
You know, that was a real dangerous spin too, because they were in the front of that race, and when that thing spun around, it was literally facing the traffic coming out of the turn at them. I'm glad those guys were paying attention. That could have been a pretty bad wreck.
What a run today for Jay Muller and Billy Moff, WHM Motorsports, 2nd. Imkan. Now they know they have a commanding lead over 15 seconds. Now, when you're in control like this, no mistakes and fingers crossed going on in the Imkan cockpit.
Yeah, that attrition could sneak up and get you too at the end, so you want to make sure everything keeps running right. Sometimes you can be so far in the front, and then it just takes one little thing to break, and then you're in the back.
And back to Billy Moore. His dad was Bobby Moore, one of the legendary throttlemen. He was one of the best tech guys, throttlemen from the Mercury Racing team, along with Odell Lewis, Richie Powers. Won a lot of world championships. Put together a lot of great teams. And the first time I saw Billy, he was running with his dad in a 4-engine superboat in 1977. I kidded him the other day. He was just 20 years old, and the owner of the boat had gotten sick, couldn't run in the last race. So can you imagine being a 20-year-old kid and running a 4-engine 4,000 horsepower superboat and winning a world championship?
That's wild. He gets to do a lot of cool things too. He was in Japan 2 months ago racing.
That's right.
Super Cat. How you doing over there?
We need to talk more about that. I did forget to ask him about that. That was a pretty cool thing. I know he was psyched about it.
He said it was a little bit of a language barrier. He didn't know much Japanese language, but he figured it out. They had a translator for him and stuff. But he had a great time. I
bet he was a rock star over there.
Yeah, he said he went over there and they won the race.
No doubt.
He said that little guy thought he was crazy the other way he was throttling that boat.
Yeah, he talks about it. He just has a ball. And
Yeah.
He gets out there and bounces around in big seas.
Yeah.
MCON, one lap after lap number 12, wrap up a flag-to-flag win here in Clearwater in Super Cat Racing. Again, he's distanced himself. It looks like this is the way, barring some sort of mishap. How we'll finish today. WHM.
You couldn't ask for a better race course than what that is. It's like racing on the lake out there right now.
It is. And it's nice if you don't have 27 boat ways.
That's right. I'll tell you what, man. It was a little bit western out there with that race. Those turns were rowdy.
So we see Pro Floors cruise through, continuing on in third place here today in the 13th annual Baystar Clearwater Offshore Nationals, presented by Visit St. Pete Clearwater and Baystar Restaurant Group here on the Race World Offshore Facebook page. Graydel, we're just talking about Billy Moore. There he is. What a ride for him this year. Met Chris Grant, the owner, CJ Grant Racing. Super guys, fun guys.
That's a fun team.
And again, what a smart, they move into that boat this year, successful boat, took it over and won the first race of the year in the national points hunt. Today they'll finish in fourth. They'll still be in the thick of things. Come the final point series race of the year. One important thing to note, Pro Floors, I mean, we think that based on the APBA overall points, that includes every race that you race, not just part of the Super Cat Owner Series, that they continue to lead in that series. Again, those are points that we're going to check here. Before we go off the air late today, we'll be sure to check that and let you know. Here comes final look at MCON. There's WHM. Come back towards the pier. There they are. They've led from the start. Great race day for Tyler Miller, Myrick Coyle, 388 skater, Sterling Power, Super Cat winner today, and your leader in the APBA National Points race, MCON. Winner in Clearwater here today. What a redemption after the spin out in St. Pete. Hard work that they put in to get that boat going as they cruise by and take the checker flag.
Man, this class came back alive. Last year and the year before, there's only 2 or 3 boats running in that Super Cat class, and now there's, 6 here, 7? Mm-hmm. And then we got Rob Understall and Casey Boas is bringing out.
Yep.
They're bringing out the old Performance Boat Center Jimmy John's boat, the 388 skater. It should be at Key West, I think. They're changing engines.
Yep.
And then Randy Keys bought the dependable boat, so he's going to be running that next year. And I think the Canada Homes is the old Performance Boat Center boat. So yeah, it's eight or 10 boats in Key West, I would imagine.
That's a 3-time World Championship boat.
Yeah,
2016, 17 Performance Boat Center, and then last year Canada Homes took it to a championship. Pro Floors takes third here today. So MCON, WHM Motorsports, Pro Floors 1, 2, 3. Graydel will take fourth. There's CS Racing They're running in third in factory 450R. And SV Offshore comes around. They'll finish up in fifth, last time around the north turn here in Clearwater.
Vinny's got to be happy with that. That boat looked really, really good today.
Yep,
That SV
Chris,
racing boat.
Chris Grant and Billy Moore running fourth. Finishing up here today, just off the podium. They'll have to have some things happen in front of them in Fort Myers to win the APBA National Championships. You got to run the races to win. They'll finish fourth here today. And SV Offshore, after a slow start, possibly a Guardian mode issue, they really got that boat running well here. Simon Prevost, Vinny Diorio, 39-foot outer limits with Mercury 552 cubic inch engines. That boat really did start looking beautiful out there.
Yeah.
All right, so official finishes now, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We have one boat early, Liquor Split, that went out. And our factory 450R classes have also finished their 11 laps of the day, with TS Motorsports taking first, leading from start to finish. KLOVAR Motorsports in second, and CG Racing takes third. WHM, another look at them. They'll just take a
It looks like they got hurt.
extra lap
They
there.
slowed down, or they took a lap extra.
They did take an extra lap.
Okay.
The race is done.
deal.
IMCON's already pulled into the no checker flags here today. You're just supposed
Sure.
to go to the
Yeah.
back to the pit. So we got our third race in the books. We're not far away from starting the third and final one. Superstock is scheduled to go in about 20 minutes. We may have a slight delay because this is a little bit deep into the schedule, but I can assure you that it'll probably be pretty soon. So stand by on the live stream and here on the radio feed. We should be back here on the air in 15, 20 minutes or so. Billy Shipley of Team Woody, we appreciate you stopping by and joining us. A great job as usual, and we look forward to seeing you in Key West, man.
Yeah, I think
if I can get you out of the engine hatch.
Congratulations on your finishes today.
Oh, thank you very much. You know, I hope we're not in the engine hatch. I looked in there a minute ago, and it still looks good here. So, you know, as long as we don't beat it up too bad in Fort Myers, I won't be working on it all day like last year. We put new power in that boat this year. New engines, new paint, new windshields. Everything in the boat's new. New drives. And so it seems to be staying together, and that's always good. But I guess I'll hand this off to Scott Porte. He knows more about these outboards than I do.
He's going to come in for our next broadcast.
He's the man. Listen, thanks for having me again. I really do appreciate it.
We appreciate you.
I like it. I get to get up here and do this, and it's almost as fun as racing.
It was fun watching them supercars at 450Rs,
That's right.
no doubt. And big day for IMCON and TS Motorsports. We'll come back with our final race of the day sometime here a little around 3 o'clock. As the Super Stocks will be off and running. Jackhammer has the national points lead heading into this final today. It's been quite a year for them. 8 podiums in a row. And Reese Langham and Ricky Maldonado, I'll tell you, they're a tough one to beat. But they've got some hard charging competition here in the Super Stock class. And we'll call that one for you here on the Race World Offshore Facebook page coming up. And also live here in the Tampa Bay area on WHBO here in Tampa Bay. News Talk 1040 and 94.5 FM, newstalkflorida.com. Back with more. We'll join you with more of the 13th annual Baystar Clearwater Nationals after this.